In this video, we are continuing with Premier Products Exercises QBE from Chapter 2 on page 68. And I'm going to start out with number 7. It says there to list the number and name of all customers represented by Juan Perez. Well, the first thing we want to do is we want to open up the rep table and see that Juan Perez is rep number 65. I just need that information before I can complete the query. Then I want the name and number of the customers. So I select the customer table. I've got to go to Create, Query, and then select the customer table, Add, and Close. And I want the number and name of all of those who have customer rep 65. So I put that in there. I can't put Juan's name in there because his name isn't actually listed in the customer table. His name would be listed in the rep table. So now I can run that query. Actually, I don't want to show that because it didn't say to show it, and then I can run it and it shows that there are 3 customers. I'll go ahead and save that object as query number 7. And then click OK. Now we're going to move on to number 8. Number 8 says, how many customers have a credit limit of 10,000? We're still going to use the customer table, so I'm going to go back to Design View instead of starting from the beginning, and we just need to know how many customers have a credit limit of 10,000. So really all I need is just one field, like the customer number or the customer name. So I'm going to go ahead and select these 2 and delete them because I don't need those fields, but I am going to have to turn on my totals so that I get another area that I can group by a statistic. In this case, a count. They want to know how many customers have a credit limit. So I choose count, and then I go to credit limit and place that in my grid. And the criteria for that is 10,000. Remember, type in 10,000 with no commas or dollar signs. Now the next step then is we can uncheck that because we don't need to have that field show. I run the query and it says that there are 3 customers that have a credit limit of 10,000. So I'm going to save the object as, in this case, query 8. Okay, then we move on to number 9. It says find the total of the balances for all customers represented by sales rep 35. So I might as well just go back and go to Design View and continue using the same query because I've got customers. So the total of the balance for all customers represented by sales rep 35. I'm just going to go ahead and delete these 2 columns because I don't need them right now. And I want to know the balance. So I'm going to double click balance, and again I have to use that totals because I want to group by sum because that will tell me the total of the balance column. And then it's for sales rep number 35, so I put sales rep in there and my criteria 35. I don't want to show the sales rep column, but I do want to show the balance or sum. So then I run the query and it shows me that I have a balance for sales rep 35 of $8,815.75. I'm going to save the object as query 9. Now if we look at 10, it says give the part number, description, and on-hand value for each part in item class HW. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and I might as well close this query and start a new one because I need the part table. So I'm going to create a query and I'm going to use the part table, and it says give the part number and description. So I'll put in the part number and description, and the on-hand value for each part in item class HW. So I'm going to have to create a calculated field. So I'm going to go in to create the calculated field by right-clicking the next blank field and going to build. Now the first thing I want to do is I want to put in a field name such as on hand value, and then follow that with a colon, because the colon indicates that anything in front of that will be the new field name. Now the on-hand value is going to be on hand times price, these two fields in the table. So the first thing I need to do is put the plus there and click on the tables. Okay, and get the part table. Then it gives me my different fields. I need on hand, and then I double click that, on hand, and then I need to put in my mathematical operation, which is multiply, and multiply is an asterisk, and then I'm going to double click price. Now I've put that in there and I click OK, and it's created a calculated field. And that field I do want to, okay, it says I have some sort of a syntax there, so let me go back and take a look at it. I've got on hand value, on hand times price. So let's see here. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just type it in instead. On hand value equals, it has to be typed just like that, on hand times price. And that has to be typed just like that. Okay, that time it worked. So maybe it would be better if you just went in and right-clicked and zoomed and then typed the calculation in. I'll click on zoom again so you can see what it is. It's on hand value followed by a colon, and then notice that on hand has to be in square brackets, times, and then price also has to be in square brackets. And then it says for each part in item class HW. So let's put in the class field, and in the criteria we're going to type in HW. Oops. HW. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and run that query. And there we've got the on-hand value. Now if we wanted to have that show as dollar signs, I'm going to go back to Design View, and I'm going to click that column and go to the Property Sheet, and under Format I can click and choose Currency. Okay, now I can close the Property Sheet by clicking on it again and go back and run the query, and now the on-hand value shows up as dollar signs. And if you ever want to see a full field name, you can just go to the right boundary and drag so that you can see everything. Okay, I'm going to go to Save the Object As, and this one happens to be query number 10. So query 10. Now 11 says list all the columns and all the records in the part table and sort the results by part description. So we're going to go back to the Home tab, and we're going to go to Design View, and I'm just going to go ahead and delete all of these. I no longer need the totals, so I'll be sure to turn that off because I don't need it anymore. And I want all the fields, but since I'm going to sort, I can't use the asterisk like I did before when I inserted all the fields, because I have a certain action I have to take, in this case sort. So I'm going to double click and add each of these fields, and then it says sort by part description. So I'm going to go to the sort row under description and put ascending, because it doesn't say to sort descending. Then I can run the query and it should give me the results, and if I look at my description, it's in alphabetical order. Then I'm going to go ahead and save the object as, and in this case it's going to be query 11. Now I want to move right on to query 12. This one says to list all columns and all records in the part table. So I can go back and use that, go to Design View, because that's the one I was already in. But this time it says sort the results by part number within item class. Well, here we have a little bit of a problem. Part number within item class. Item class actually is going to be our primary sort area, but whenever we sort one number within one column within another column, the primary one, the class one, has to be to the left of the one that we want. So this one again says part number by item class. So part number is way over here and class is way over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put that field in twice. So I guess what I'll do is I'll clear the grid, and I'm going to put class in there because I want this part number within item class. So item class becomes our primary key. Then I'm going to put in all the other fields, and I'm going to hide this because I'm using this for sort purposes only. So I choose ascending, and then for part number I do the same thing, ascending. Now when I run the query, you'll notice that all of the class are together. There we go. All of the class are together, the APs and the HWs and the SGs, and then within that we have our part numbers in alphanumeric order. All the D's, the K's, and then when we get to the HWs we start out with the A's and the D's. So that's how that works. Then I'm going to save that object as number 12. Number 13 says to list the item class and the sum of the value of parts on hand. Group the results by item class. So I'm going to just go ahead and close this query. Of course I want to save it, and I'm going to call it query 12, and then we'll go back and take a look at query 13 again. This is also the parts table, and I've frozen up here for a minute. So I think I'm just going to stop there and start over. The freezing comes from recording because I'm using a program called Camtasia. So we will stop with number 12, and then I'll do 13, 14, and 15 on the next video.